Nate, it's been a while, as Stained would say in a hit song that I'm not going to sing because I don't want a copyright strike.
Can you sing?
And I'm not going to.
Okay.
And I'm glad you're here today because we're going to talk about why a Thor video game is so hard to make. Now, here's the thing. I already hear the PlayStation people, and I'm going to say PlayStation people because they were the loudest in terms of that Spider-Man thing, saying, oh, well, actually, there is a Thor game coming. It's that Avengers game. And you're right, in a way. But this is talking about a game that would actually center around Thor only, or mainly Thor, versus an entire team. So what makes this difficult to do, actually? The first thing is we don't know how to code. Oh, wait, this isn't about us making the game. Oh, whoops. Okay, my bad. Nate, you go ahead.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so first of all, there already was a Thor game.
Well, we're done here. And pack it up. Have a nice day.
Okay. The game was bad.
Yeah, really mediocre.
Yeah, me and you definitely played it. We platinumed it. We platinumed it 6 times.
Going all in on that.
No. It was bad. It was a bad game.
Yeah.
It was basically just a clone of God of War.
And not a good clone of God of War. Because you can clone a game and do a good job, actually. There's plenty of COD clones that are very entertaining.
Right.
Or Smash Bros clones.
Right.
That are fun. But this is like,
it was
just
very
meh.
Yeah, the problem is it was uninteresting.
Yeah.
The enemies were just your normal average enemies.
Yeah, it was very generic. I think it's mainly just ice giants, if I'm remembering right, too.
It was just like, you run around a store, hit that enemy, cool.
That's it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not the most engaging thing, is it, ever? I also think that other than the fact that there was one, which is worth addressing, there has not been a modern one. This was a game early on in the MCU to sort of capitalize off those movies and try to make some money there, from my understanding.
Yeah, it came out around the same time as that old Captain America game.
Which we have and might play on the Let's Play channel.
Yeah.
And then we also, you also have those Iron Man games, Iron Man 1 and 2 from that time period. So there was a lot of okay games from the MCU and some bad. There were very few that were good. This was not one of them. And also, I do think that it's worth mentioning that most superhero games now are a little different as well. I would say that most are centered around Earth. I mean, what do we see for superhero games? We see the Avengers game. Look, it's on Earth. We see Spider-Man. Look, it's on Earth. Miles Morales. Look, it's on Earth. Batman. Look, they're all on Earth. I'm not saying you can't go somewhere else, but I think that game developers have gotten very used to tying things to our planet in order to make you give a crap. I mean, that's something that we've seen, and that was why something like the movie Guardians of the Galaxy was a bit of a leap in terms of taking a chance for Marvel, because they were having to make you go out and care about all these weird cosmic things. So now to have to do that in a game, I think, is a little difficult. And the point I'm getting to is that Thor doesn't work really that well on Earth. I mean, he can with the Avengers. I think he'll work fine in this Avengers game as part of the team. But if you try to just tell a Thor story on Earth, there's only a few different ones that you can tell.
Yeah, because the problem is he's too powerful.
Yeah.
Like, way too powerful.
It's
He's
the
literally
Superman
a god.
conundrum.
Yeah, you can have him on Earth, but what enemies is Earth going to produce that Thor is going to be challenged by?
Yeah, and if it does produce ones that he's going to be challenged by, a lot of the times it's more beneficial to just team him up with the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, and have him play off their characteristics.
Yeah, if you're talking about a Thor game, he works a lot better in outer space, but he works better against other godlike enemies or other mythical beings.
Yeah.
That are also equally as powerful as him.
Yeah.
That's just where he works out, because that's actually a challenge. That's something that rivals his ability.
Yeah, at least make it a challenge for me.
Yeah. Another!
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't think that he's someone that you should feel necessarily you have to put on Earth. I do think that Kitty is staring at me very admirably while we're recording.
She's like,
this.
You better talk correctly about my god, Thor.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a problem Superman has had in the past as well, is you could make something really good on Earth. I think if you had somebody really good working on this project, but I don't think that that's a necessity, and I think that you're actually shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. You're making it more difficult by picking that setting and staying there like the Superman games often have. It just gets really hard for a godly hero to work against only mortal beings. And you know what? Actually, speaking of the God of War clone, I do want to say that's why Kratos works so well in a lot of his games, is like, does he ever fight just, people or things that aren't as powerful as him? Absolutely. but he also goes up against other gods and these other characters. So it's weird to me that they would kind of clone a Kratos game, like the God of War game, and not understand why it worked, which is interesting to me how that happened. I also do think that you brought up an interesting point, because you and I were talking about this, and writers have had a hard time with this character in terms of fully humanizing him, because I pointed out to you that a lot of times he's just played as the you have like in comedy, sometimes you'll have a dynamic where it's like you'll have the funny man and the straight man, and it's not like what you'd think from hearing it. It's actually just somebody who plays everything cool, it's very matter of fact, is not very funny, doesn't have a lot of jokes, and that makes them ironically funny. You can do that with Thor for so long, but eventually you have to add some humanization and character and humor to him, and I think that pointing him just as a matter-of-fact hero all the time can come off very dry.
Yeah, and a lot of times people put his character as just basically you have his storyline as just the God becomes man.
Yep.
Or his storyline is just angry God runs around and beats up things.
Yes.
Those are the only two storylines that...
Well, and then the last one you mentioned, though, too, is like God's not worthy.
Yeah.
And needs to go on a journey to stay or become worthy again.
Yeah,
it's very...
You have the same storylines.
Well, and wouldn't you say those are all three... they're all three kind of based off of archetypical characters in literature, in terms of... Like, you have God becomes man. This is kind of the story of, like, the Christ figure. You have that kind of story where it's like, God comes down, becomes a man, learns a lesson or does something good for humankind or whatever, and then leaves. And then you have the other one, like you said, the angry God, or you just have like, is this person worthy of their power, and goes on a journey to find out or stay or become worthy.
Yeah.
And we've seen this so many times with different characters that it's just stale. I think that's a problem. And you know what? I've actually come to really appreciate this character, so I do think there's more you can do with him. He needs to break out of that rut.
Yeah, they need to find some other storyline with him.
Yeah.
You cannot just continue with those same three storylines and expect an interesting character every time.
Well, especially not if he's a cut and dry character already.
Right.
I mean, one reason that Batman works cut and dry is because he has this dynamic gallery of characters, both good and bad, around him that help elevate those stories. With Thor, I'm sorry, but there's very few iconic Thor villains. You have Loki, the Wrecking Crew, Malekith,
the Enchantress
from DC.
No.
Oh, that Marvel one.
Yeah, the Marvel's Enchantress.
Okay.
The one who runs around with Scourge.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Executioner.
There you go. Yeah, Hela.
Well, no, her name's actually the Enchantress.
Oh, okay.
But Hela's another villain.
Okay, well, I just came up with another one.
Okay.
That's the problem, is they're kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
And there's very few good ones. I think he needs a better rogues gallery to draw from as well for this.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of villains. And
No.
that's the other problem, is every time you have a Thor game, it's just, well, who should we throw in there? Loki. Hey.
Or the Ice Giants.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like they need to expand his villain roster a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, if they make a Thor game and they want to make it good, do not just put in the average Loki every time.
No, you don't need a cookie cutter. I mean, you even see it when he's in something like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
They don't really have anyone paired off against him, actually. Or you see it in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I was like trying to think. I was going to call it Avengers Alliance, the game we used to play on Facebook.
That was a great game.
But no, in like...
Please bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back, please. In Ultimate Alliance, it was really just Loki again. Yeah, you also pointed out, too, that his moveset in terms of his combat is very limited in games, whether it's Marvel vs. Capcom or, obviously Ultimate Alliance. These games sort of just have Thor do a few different basic moves, and that's it. He's never really expanded on.
Yeah, his moveset is just shooting lightning.
Yep.
Throwing the hammer.
Yep.
Occasional ground pound with the hammer.
Yep, with lightning coming out of it.
Yeah.
And then just the random hammer whack.
Yeah, that's basically his moveset.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you were to make a Thor game, you need to expand his moveset. You need to give him some other moves. I mean, you can have the hammer throw, you can have the lightning shot, but you need to think of some other moves here.
Well, these should be the basics, not the entire roster of movement.
Right. People are not creative at all when it comes to Thor moves.
Well, and I do want to point something out too, because I don't want to give this game like negative sentiment before it's out, obviously. And I didn't get the open beta, or I'm sorry, the private beta, because I didn't pre-order. And also I was really critical of the Spider-Man DLC, so I think I got passed over for like a code.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of that, but that's what I think happened.
Yeah, you didn't get the beta because you're not a beta.
I was an alpha. I called out a dumb move, a dumb business decision, and I'm not getting access to it. But regardless, whatever. Thor is also still very floaty.
Yeah.
It's still very clone-y of God of War, just like whack whack with the hammer, some flying. I don't really know if people know how to make him a very dynamic character even today. I hope he's great in that Avengers game. I'm going to reserve some of my judgment for when I actually am able to play it. But even that, with the big budget it has, makes me feel like this is even more difficult to get that move set down.
Yeah, and it's like, what else would you do? Like, if you're going to make a game, you need to put some thought into it, though.
Yeah.
You need to really think of some other stuff besides just take hammer, whack, throw hammer, ground pound hammer.
I know. Imagine if, like, in Arkham you had 3 moves, or in Spider-Man you had 4 different moves, and that's it the whole game.
Yeah.
It's very simple, and that can work in some games like, I don't know, Super Mario Bros. Or the side-scrollers and stuff. You can make that design work, but it's very hard to make that work in a 3-dimensional world and not feel unfinished.
Right, exactly.
So, I don't know. These are our reasons why we think that this would be a difficult game to make. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I definitely think it's doable. People always say, like, well, it's possible. Yeah, the point is not that it's not possible. It's just that I think there have been a lot of difficulties over the years with this character of understanding, you know, who he is, who they want him to be. Is he supposed to be the straight-to-the-point guy, or is he supposed to be funny? All this different stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of different directions you could take this. So hey, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Definitely interested to hear what you have to say. Be sure to check out the links in the description as always. We've got the Let's Play channel down there where Nate and I and even T hang out. We play games. And, you know, there's the Twitter, Patreon if you want to help out in that way, Reddit, Instagram. It's all down there. We appreciate you every time you watch a video. See you in the next one. I just stuttered. Stay shway.